And Numbers 12 says, then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, an Ethiopian woman. So they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also? And the Lord heard it. 3. That's how far we got last week, believe it or not. Go ahead.
Now the man Moses was very humble, more than any man who was on the face of the earth. And suddenly the Lord said to Moses and Aaron and to Miriam, you three come out to the tent of meetings, so the 3 of them came out.
Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the doorway of the tent, and he called Aaron and Miriam. When they had both come forward, he said, hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, shall make myself known to him in a vision. I shall speak with him in a dream.
7.
Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my household. I speak with him directly, openly, and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? The Lord's anger burned against him, and he left. That's scary right there.
As the cloud moved away from the tent, Miriam's skin suddenly became diseased, as white as snow. When Aaron turned towards her, he saw that she was diseased and said to Moses, my Lord, please don't hold against us this sin we have so foolishly committed. Please don't let her be like a dead baby whose flesh is half eaten away when it comes out of his mother's womb.
Then Moses cried to the Lord, heal her now, O God. The Lord said to Moses, if her father had only spit in her face, would she have not been disgraced for 7 days? Shut her out of the camp 7 days, and afterwards
14. 12, 14. Now it's 15.
she can be brought back again.
15.
So Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. Then afterwards the people moved from Hazarah and camped in the wilderness of Paran.
So guys, I want you to see something. By looking at it, we're only talking about 16 verses. But something very powerful has taken place when you become disobedient. Something very powerful takes place when you go against God's man. Something very powerful takes place. I made this statement, I think, to you today. You look like a man, you walk like a man. You even talk like a man. And that's at times how we, well, you know not approach your pastors or your ministers. Because of the open relationship, and I can only speak for me, but because of the open relationship that I allow with you all, where I communicate with you whenever you want to communicate, it at times tends to lose its flavor, or the enforcement, or the power, whatever you want to call it.
Respect.
All the respect. It tends to do that because I at times will even not only spend time with you, but I'll sit down and be humorous with you as well. And so we'll laugh and joke. Yet at the same time, I understand my role. And my role is, and I think you know it, I'll disappear. I'll disappear from you. I says, while you are around, everything is okay. My wife, she's here to testify. The days that I'm there, I disappear. I'm actually upstairs in my study. I'm upstairs and she sees the computers running, it's on. And then when I come down or whatever, I do break away. I usually break away to take crypto and Aries for a walk. And then by that time, Renee's ready to go to bed and I'm ready to go to bed. But you say, I don't understand. Well, let me see if I can help you. Renee will sometimes, I'll put like this, I pick her up about 5:15. We'll come home. She's the great cook. And I'd have to admit that, she is. And so she'll fix the meal. And she'll have the meal ready. And then while she's working on the meal, she's already lost me, I'm already gone. I'm upstairs. And then she'll say it's time to eat. And sometimes I'll respond and come down when she says it, or it all depends on what it is that I'm doing. And if I'm so wrapped up in it, then I'm just too into it. I don't, you know what I'm talking about, I just don't want to come down. It's not that I'm ignoring the fact that she's made a meal, it's that I'm being fed. And because I'm being fed, I'd rather feed off of the Word of God, and a lot of times not feed off of the meal. So a lot of times I come down, she's not at her best because of the food was hot when I called you. But you get what I'm saying? So now you're coming down when it's cold. And then I can hear some of this ground. So would you put it on the microwave at? That's too hot, or that's too long. So I can hear it, but at the same time, that's what I said. Here's Moses, and something's going to take place. Here's Moses. Remember what took place in the 11th chapter of Moses. Did not Moses, wasn't the people grumbling? And what were they grumbling about? Well, the people were complaining about what?
Manna.
Food.
No, they were complaining about,
Manna.
they were complaining about,
Oh, the walk, the journey.
no, what were they complaining about?
The past.
What manner? What were they complaining about?
Moses' power.
Oh, Moses' power. They were complaining about something. The people.
No meat?
Meat. They were complaining about they wanted meat. Remember? And because of their complaint, what did it do to affect Moses?
Disheartened him.
When they going to actually go after Moses and actually hurt Moses? When they trying to build a lynch mob? Remember that? Weren't they trying to build a lynch mob to go get Moses? So Moses does what? He disappears and he goes and he does what? He talks to God, right? But in his talking to God, what did he do? What did he do?
Complaint.
He complained. So you see what happened? So he had been receiving this pressure. And a lot of times when you don't realize that when you're under pressure, it's best you just get away. Because a lot of times you'll say something you didn't really mean to say, but you've said it. And once a word is leaked out, it can never be returned. You can't take it back. So here's Moses. Moses is complaining to God. Remember, what was Moses' complaint about?
You're only one man and you gave me all these people.
You got it. My wife's the only one study. Lord, have mercy, the rest of y'all, Lord.
We thought it.
Oh, no.
I did. Right in that moment.
So, what do you have here? You've got Moses complaining. Moses complains about what? About getting help. God gives him 70, right? But watch this. But God gives, who complained first?
The woman.
No, who complained first? I'm still in 11. Who said it?
Your wife.
Lord have mercy again.
Only one that studied.
No, that's right. So watch this. So then the people
I wasn't
complain.
here, so soon.
Under normal conditions, you normally meet the first complaint. And then you go after the second complaint, right? Why did God go after the second complaint first? What'd you say?
Moses complained.
Yeah, but why did he go after the second? Moses was the second complaint. Why did God address the second complaint first? When the first complaint was that they wanted meat. That's what generated, that's what started all this complaint in the first place, because they wanted meat. They were tired of the manna. So now they wanted meat. So then why then did God address the second complaint first?
Because Moses was his man.
Because Moses was God's man.
Right.
He always hears his man. We're going to get into 13, but you got to see this. Picture's got to be painted. He always responds to his servant, his leader, the one that's in control. He always responds to him first. And the reason being is because he's the leader. And if he's the leader and you kill the head,
Then everything else.
then the body will what? The body is scattered. That's what Jesus said, right?
Yeah.
Jesus said that when you kill the, that ain't Warren's statement. Jesus made that statement. Remember that? Jesus made that statement. You kill the head, and he says the body will scatter. And he made that statement to Peter, remember? He made that statement to Peter. And then he made it to the other disciples to get them to understand what he was talking about. And sure enough, when it was time for him to be crucified, what did they do? Shoo! Everybody scattered. So his statement was true. So now we've got a situation here where the other half of that statement, or that other half of that complaint was met. He told them they weren't going to just have a quail, but they was going to have it what?
30 days.
But they was going to have it what? Come on, did you say it loud? Where it'd be running through their nostrils. He says, and it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, he was trying to be nice. He said, I'm going to give you so much meat. And then what did they do? They actually ate of this, they ate of the meat. And then what do you see in 11? They not only ate of the meat, but wait a minute. When it came down, I want mine, let me go get mine. Yeah, wait a minute. But there's what? 4 to 6 million people that's got to be fed. But you running over here and gathering all of it as much as you can. So then God was right. He said that they what? You're going to eat it till it runs out your nostrils. But watch this. He said, because you just that low life. You just that greedy of a person. You, watch this, there are others. You ain't gave second thoughts about sharing nothing. You don't have no intentions of sharing anything. So you have gathered this meat, and all this meat, he says, is going to run out your nostril. Meaning God said, you're going to get sick off it. I'm going to give you enough of it that you're going to get sick off of it. So watch this. We've got some complaints, right, that have come in from the people. We've got some complaints that have come in from Moses. God, watch this. God turns around and puts Moses' face back on. When he leaves, remember? When he leaves, remember? When he leaves 2 elders, right, in the camp. And those 2 elders are to do what? They are to go out and, the Bible says, and they prophesied. Prophesied about what? I'm sorry, what? Yes, let's speak up, Lord. Ain't nobody, y'all gonna bite her? No, they ain't gonna bite her. Okay, she's all right. So speak up. So then, watch this. It is right. It is about the leader. He prophesies about God. He prophesies about Moses. He's got to get Moses back on track. He's got to get them to understand that is our leader. You don't have that right to talk about this man. Don't you dare talk about it. Do you know God will strike you dead? That is their prophecy. Watch this. To get him back so when he comes back in, he is welcomed as a leader. You need a leader. There's 4 to 6 million people out there. And guys, you need a leader when there's 4 to 6 million. I remember when I first came here, somebody said, well, you know, you don't run the church. I remember that. You don't run the church. Then who does? Then who does? Then who does? So, I'll get out the way and let God run the church.
Come on now.
No, but you hear me? So I'll get out of the way and let God run the church. That's not so.
No.
God always brings it. Yes, he appoints a leader. God always puts a man, watch this, a vessel to run his church, whether we like it or not. That's what's wrong with most black folks. We don't wanna, you ain't got no business leading. That's what's wrong. You do need a leader. You have to have a leader. Yes.
Well, just a slight correction. Negatively looking at it, running the church is not good. Leading the church is better.
Right.
Because that's what you're doing as a spiritual leader.
Right.
As God's man, you're leading the people.
Right.
But many people have moved away from that, and they running the church. I mean, they're running it, and it's sad because things that sound similar are not the same.
Right. Because you're right. There are those that say it's their church,
Yeah.
so they're actually running the church. They're actually making all the decisions, even signing checks. So you're right, and that shouldn't be. It should be, and we know when you go into 1 Timothy the 3rd chapter, we know that the workings of an elder he is not to be what? He is not to do what? Lord over the church.
Yeah.
So if he's not to lord over her, what do you think your minister is not to do? He's not to lord over it, but he is to lead it. That lead is to, when it's off track, when it's not going in the direction it is, then his leadership should be disciplined, whether we like it or not. That's what we don't like. His leadership comes into discipline. He comes in and tells you, hopefully individually pulls you to the side and tells you what you need to focus in on. Now, whether or not you see him as a leader with respect, if you don't see him as respect as your leader, then you're right, you take it lightly. But if you see him as a leader, you know he means well, then you take it and you digest it and say, I need to get on track. Because he's trying to lead me to heaven. That's what he's trying to do. So watch this. I said all that because I built everything up. So 13 says what? When we get into 13 again, it says what? You can read because I would have to read it. Yeah. No, 13:1. Says what? I'm sorry. 12:1. I'm sorry. 12:1. But I don't make no mistake because I'm leading now. Okay? That's why I'm running this place. I don't make no mistake. Well, don't you tell me I said 13, I said 12.
All right.
Okay? Okay, go ahead.
Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses.
Joshua, I'm leaving. Go ahead.
Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Cushite or Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said,
Hold up. And real quick, what's wrong with the picture?
Miriam.
That's the symptom. What's the real problem? That's the visible. She's a black woman. That's the visible part. What's the real issue? What's the real issue? I told you all last week. What was the real issue?
Miriam is leading.
No, what's the real issue behind this?
That Miriam and Aaron don't have the
No, don't get hung up on 13.
Was it jealousy?
Yes, but with where?
Leadership.
You got it. There was how many? 70. Remember? 70 were appointed. The real issue is they were appointed to do what? To lead. They were appointed to lead. What was Miriam and Aaron's position?
To follow.
To lead. That was their position. To lead. Too many leaders now. Hear me? Too many leaders. There's 70 and then there's Moses. There's 71 leaders. That's too many leaders. Where do we fit in? But if you look out, here's Moses that has married a what? A Cush. So wait a minute. So what do? I hunt for a reason that's of surface, but I don't touch where I'm really at. Anybody have one of these? Okay. But I don't touch on the real concern.
Smoke screen.
Yeah, what'd you say? That's it. Anybody else? Smoke screen.
I may have one, but
So it's a smoke screen. See what I'm saying? So it's a smoke screen. So they're not really talking about what the real issue is. They're just throwing something out. And then, watch this. And then look at the text. Who is really throwing this out? Miriam.
Yeah.
Miriam is the one that's having a problem with this. Aaron is simply going along with it. But Miriam is the one that's throwing her chest out. She's got a problem with it. Eve had a problem. And the problem Eve had was she wanted the same thing that Miriam wanted. Power. And when Satan came along, guess what? He says, let me give you something. You're not going to die if you eat of this fruit. He says, but you shall know. So you're going to gain some knowledge because you shall know what's right from wrong. That's power. That's power. And so she desired power. That's why he said in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, the 16th verse, the last part of it, and he says, and she shall desire her husband. It is not desiring with the ideal of wanting to have a sexual relationship. That ain't what she's talking about. The desire here is, God says that she will always want to usurp you. You're not going to get around it. As long as you marry, there's going to always be usurping. Word, somebody says, but I don't understand. What are you talking about? I've always said marriage is a curse. It has a curse in it. You say, no, it doesn't. Yes, it does. It has a curse in it because they were married and disobedient. She is to bear children and have what? Labor pains, right? Now, even after her pain is over, she's going to always want to
Usurp her.
She's going to always do it. Oh, well, I think you could have did this. Well, why don't you? This is what I'm saying. We don't understand deception. So when you understand deception, it's not something big. It's something small. You know, why we do it? Why we do that? That's your deception. She is to be his helpmeet. She is to help him, not to pull him down, not to say things that will hurt him. He's got feelings too. She is not to do this. She is to be his helpmeet. But remember, the other half of that was also in the 17th chapter, Genesis the 3rd chapter, 17th verse, said that he was to work from the sweat of his brow. So then he comes off as
Macho man.
That's it. Macho man. He comes off as macho man. Why my food ain't ready? You know I worked all day. What's going on? Huh? But you hear me? Or he says something that's hurtful. So you got it cursing both ways. One wants to be the dominant factor. Hey! The other one says, look, I work just like you work. You hear me? So you've got a clash that's going on. And the clash, watch this, and he told you it was going to happen. God brought it to your attention, though, for a reason. He brought it to your attention so that you'd understand when you walk into this marriage, don't get shocked. Don't get surprised. This was going to happen. But if you use wisdom, how you respond to this is very simple. With wisdom, now that you know, what do? Now that you know, that husband is to do what? Take control. He is to take the leadership, the headship of that household. He's to take it, but not in a fashion where it is what?
Hurtful.
Male chauvinist.
Yeah.
Not in a fashion where I say it, do it. He is to do it in such a way that, because your Bible says in Ephesians 5:26, says that you are to what? Husbands are to love, 27. They're to love their wives as what? Christ loves the church. And so Christ is gentle to the church. He's not hard on the church. Why do you think you get by with what you get by? Why do you think when you lie, you looking for the results and it didn't happen? God's grace is in the church. He allows us, remember this, what we do though in life he's going to do what? There is going to be punishment. There's consequences to every sin you do. But watch this, but no, I don't pay for every sin. Oh, yes, you do. You pay for every sin you do. The problem is we keep using our finite minds to determine what God's punishment should be.
That's right.
When it should, that's wrong. It's God. God applies the punishment where He should. Because if you say, God, you need to get her, God says, and you say, well, God, why you keep hitting? Because I got to get you first. You see what I'm saying? Because I got to get you first. Since you want to apply punishment, when that husband should be at the state of mind where he simply, anything that goes on, if anything, he wants to take whatever punishment he needs and whatever punishment she gets. He wants to take it all. That husband should want to take it all. He should want only to wish peace for the wife. Peace for her. No, like I feel when I do with my children, like I feel when I do with them. I don't want her hurt. I don't want her going through things. I'd rather you apply it to me. I've always said my skin is tougher. So send it my way. It's going to hurt. I know it's going to hurt. But I'll take it. I'll bounce back. I'll recover. But she's the flower. She's the precious flower. You hurt her, she'll wither on me. Don't do that to her. Did you know where I'm coming from?
No, it's man pushing the way.
So we got a problem. Because we got Miriam. She's speaking out, right? Watch 2. 2 says what? That's your next. Yeah, you got 2 too, Gene. And then it shift.
Okay. They said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has He not spoken through us as well?
Didn't I tell you? There it is. Do you hear it? Now can't you hear it? Has the Lord indeed what? Spoken to what? You with that, Shannon?
I'm sorry. Has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses?
Has He spoken only through Moses?
That's
But
also
has He what?
Not spoken through us.
But didn't He speak to us as well? Weren't we, watch this, weren't we the ones? Wait a minute, well, what's going on with this picture? So what are you talking about? Didn't He speak to us as well? Where were we then? Is that you driving a yellow car?
Yes, sir.
Lord, I'm going to take that thing back. I'm just kidding. So wait a minute. So then if this is the case, listen to what he's saying. So, or she's saying, who's then igniting this thought? It's Miriam. Miriam is starting this stuff up. Miriam is the one that's the problem here. Aaron, I don't hear him. He said one word yet. But it is Miriam who has ignited this stuff. That's why I keep hearing this thing. I've told you I've heard it too many times. I've heard it too many times. And God got Aaron too. And that's why He killed his 2 sons. I hate to tell you that God didn't kill his 2 sons because of this. God killed his 2 sons because of what they did. They burnt strange incense.
That's right.
That's what your text said. They burnt strange incense. So if they burnt strange incense, then watch this. If He was going to get him, He should have got him earlier. But they did this. And so what I see then is God deals with the one who commits the sin. Somebody said, but didn't He say He'd go out to generation to get them? But believe me, it's still an individual sin. It's something you produce.
right.
Now, here's the problem why He says generation after generation. Because you don't realize that children are just like... Hello, what'd you say? Children are just like parents. That's where your generation come in. You don't realize that you don't know why you do this, but you do it. And so watch this, there's your generation. You won't cut it. You won't let it go. Cut it, let it go. But you carry on because this is all you know. So you do the same thing. And guess what? Now you got a generational sin that's keep traveling from one generation to the other.
But your punishment is individual. It comes to you because what you did, not what your generation. Okay, come on.
Yeah, because he even says, to the third and fourth generation, for those who hate
There it is.
the Lord. Yeah.
That's it. There it is. So it shows you have learned how to hate the Lord. And I told you, deception, I love your word, Calvin. Deception is, you don't even know you hate. That's your deception. You don't even know you hate. And here she blows. You don't know why you kicked that cat. That cat didn't do nothing to you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But you did. Why do you do these things? Because it's being passed on from generation to generation. So now John 3 says what?
Now the man Moses was very humble, more than any
Wait a
man.
minute. And so the man Moses was what?
Very humble.
Yours says very, doesn't it? How deep we got to get onto that? How much we got to go into that? We've heard of being humble, but he put a verb before that and said very. See what I'm saying? So he's really drawing home a point. I wanted you to see that because the last time I checked, wasn't Moses complaining? And Jesus is the God of peace, and God loves us, and Jesus just demonstrated peace as he took the table and flipped it over. Remember that? As he took the table and flipped it over. But that don't look like he's too peaceful to me. Here's what we do. We don't understand when God's discipline comes in. We think, you know, the preacher should be just so nice and humble to every thing and everywhere he goes. He should just be so humble. We was in a situation today. Remember that? We was at Ross. Remember that? And the lady was taking everybody that was in the exchange. Remember? Taking everybody in exchange. I said, that don't make sense. Let me go up to him. I said, now, I have a concern. Can I ask you this? I said, if you taking everybody in the exchange, when do you take the regular line? Yeah. So when do you take the regular line? Because you got everybody. She says, no, that's not so. She asked one of the girls, who did you have in exchange? She said, well, who do you have in exchange? I was like, that's my point. What else we need to see? I'm showing you the proof. I'm not just making something up. Someone said, but you're the preacher. You shouldn't be starting stuff. Right? That's the way some would look at it. When I didn't start anything, I brought what was wrong to her attention.
Right.
Then she didn't know how to start taking the regular line. Am I right? Then she didn't know how to start taking the regular line. But this is what I'm talking about. When it's delivered, when it's spoken of, come on. Here's a man that's very humble, yet has the ability to be a man. He can complain. It's okay. He's a man. He's human.
Right.
It hit him. It hurt his heart to see these people get ready to set up a lynch mob to come get him. It hurt his heart. So what did he do? He says, what I can do is talk to the people, but they'll kill me. Let me go talk to God. And when I talk to God, what do? What did you do? Why did you give me this? I don't understand how you could put me in charge of this. Do you know what they're trying to do to me? He didn't say, Lord, oh Heavenly Father, I come to you this day. And your Father, did you see what they're trying to do to me? Oh, I forgot the thou. Okay. Do you see what thou trying to do it to me to do it today? Did you hear me? This is what I'm talking about. When you see him as your Lord, as your Father, you talk to him. And sometimes you don't have to say, oh, Heavenly Father, I come to you this day. Why not just, hey, can I talk to you? I need to talk to you. This thing got ugly out here. I need to talk to you. Guess who knows you knew who you talking to? He know you ain't talking to nobody else because ain't nobody there. So he knows you're talking to him. And what it says is you do have a relationship. it's not phony.
Right.
You watch, there's too many Christians in this world and not too many
Christ-like.
Christ-like. When you become Christ-like, you know how to talk to your dad. But as long as you remain a Christian, you just run around and, I can't start my prayer off unless I say, let us bow. Oh, Heavenly Father, why come we just can't say what's on your heart and deliver it? I'll never forget this. I was at a church and I was sitting at a meeting and I was listening to what was going on and I said absolutely nothing. Those that know me know that man's a student, and yet that man hasn't said anything. So when it was over, the meeting was over, I gathered my stuff and I still didn't say anything, and I was headed to my car. And I saw at least 3 brothers say, come on, bro, come on. You got to talk to us. You got to talk to us. I said, oh, Lord, no, everything's okay. He said, no, we know you. You got to talk to us. I said, well, if I do, then let me state this. How do you teach a man how to pray? That's what the talk was about. I said, how do you teach a man? So if a man says, oh, God, please forgive me, I'm wrong, have mercy on my soul, you don't call that a prayer? He's got to be formal to be called a prayer?
Right.
Did you hear me? They said, we thought something was wrong. I said, I'm just telling you. God says, ain't nobody gonna come in my face and tell me, let me teach you how to pray. Because then that's your prayer. That ain't my prayer. That's your prayer. If I say, God help me, that's my prayer. And I'm sincere about it, that's my prayer. And God will recognize that quicker than He will. Oh, Heavenly Father, I need to come to Thou and talk to Thou today. And, have mercy on my soul. And that is more phony than a... And guess who knows it's phony? God. We got a problem. Moses is humble. Come on, John. He's humble. He's humble.
More than any man who was on the face of the earth.
Come on.
Suddenly the Lord said to Moses and Aaron and to Miriam, you 3 come out to the tent of meeting.
Lord, I said, that didn't get scary to you all? When I was reading that didn't get scary to you all?
Yeah.
How did it feel? Wait a minute. You 3. It ain't the 3 of us coming out. It's who told us to come out. You know what I'm saying? That's what the problem is. It's who told us to come out. When Mama and Daddy told you to come out, you scared. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Here's God telling them,
And it's
all
amazing
3.
you 3 come out.
You know what it says to me?
It's like,
There could have been others in the tent.
right.
But He says,
You 3.
you 3, come out. Watch this. If you've done no wrong, then there's no guilt. Right, Calvert? Then there's no problem.
Right, but when you detail it like that, you also authority. You understand, this is authority.
This is serious. This ain't no just come out.
Yeah.
Okay. This is serious. Something is happening.
Yeah.
Something is happening. Come on.
So the 3 of them came out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the doorway of the tent. And He called Aaron and Miriam. When they had both come forward.
And so watch, out of the 3, now does He call? Who does He call?
So Aaron and Mary.
Did you catch it?
Mm-hmm.
First the 3 of us came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then He says, oh no, you can go back. Moses will go back. You 2 come. What? Now you 2 come forward. I'm trying to tell you, this is God calling them.
Or could it be, well, I kind of thought that He have Moses witnessing what is happening.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can see it that way, but what I'm just dealing with the direct call itself.
Okay.
He's calling all 3. All of a sudden now it's down to 2.
It's like,
Come on.
okay, Aaron and Mary.
So watch this. Come on.
He said, hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, shall make myself known to him in a vision.
This is what I want you to see, guys. He says, one more time, Jack, he says what?
If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, shall make myself known to him in a vision.
Come on.
I shall speak with him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my household.
I want you to see this, guys. So, before you flip your papers,
God's summons. See it? Y'all see it? God's summons.
Oh, Sister Mary.
Yeah, see it?
On that.
How many, we have to flip it a couple times?
No, I mean, it doesn't matter the one.
You put it in one.
You know, go on.
Yeah, we have to flip it more down.
Sure.
We have to flip it
Yeah.
all the way. God summons Moses and Aaron.
Yeah, God summons Moses.
It's got the beginning at the top, it says the words at once. Period.
Go ahead. Not on this one, man.
God summoned Moses and Aaron.
Go ahead.
God summoned Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to go to the tabernacle. All three were obviously together, which means that Miriam and Aaron were most definitely criticizing Moses face to face. Note what happened when they reached the tabernacle. The cloud of the Shekinah glory, the very presence of God, dramatically descended, not to show mercy, but wrath. God stood at the entrance of the tabernacle to exercise judgment. Stricken with fear and terror, Miriam and Aaron were summoned to step forward toward God.
Come on.
Listen to my words. Heed what I
You
say.
said, Jockey says what? In 6, is that where you're at? 6 says what?
Hear now my words.
He says what?
Hear now my words.
What do you think he's talking about? Here. What do you think he's talking about?
Listen to
Listen. Come on. That's one. Come on.
Pay attention.
What'd you say?
Pay attention.
Pay. I like it. Pay.
Attention.
Yeah, but it's
Pay
more than
strict
pay.
attention.
Hello, it's more than just pay attention.
Pay strict attention.
Yes, this is serious. This ain't just heed, take heed. This is pay very close to what I have to say. I am not, you already hear the person say, I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah.
You remember that when they say, and I'm not going to repeat it? I'm going to say it once. You got it. When they said it once, it was like an echo. You heard it. You most definitely heard what they were saying. So he's saying, what I want you to do is pay close attention to what I have to say. Jock, give me. Come on, read some more than 6.
Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my
He
house.
says, but not, huh? What do you mean, but not so with mine? So you're telling me Moses doesn't have to listen? Look at it. Look at the text. It says what? How does yours read, Gina?
The same, not the same time.
Somebody got another one. How's it read?
But it is.
What'd you say?
But this is not true of my servant Moses.
So watch this. He's bringing something to their attention. He says, it's not so with Moses. What do you mean? He says, I told you, don't speak. Don't say nothing. You listen to me. I want you to listen to what's going on. Then he's going to tell him, he says, this is not true with Moses. I want you to see this. He says, come on.
With him I speak mouth to mouth.
No, you had to go back up.
He is faithful in all my household.
Go ahead. He's faithful in all my household.
With him I speak mouth to mouth.
No, you're not somewhere.
Yeah, that's what it
I
says.
speak with him directly.
No, come back up. Hear my word. Hear my word.
Hear my words. If there is a prophet,
That's where I'm at. If there is a prophet, he does what?
I, the Lord, shall make myself known to him.
Watch this. I told you, this is not so with Moses. What are you saying? Moses ain't your prophet. That's what I want you to get first. He is not a prophet. What are you saying? Miriam was considered a what? Prophetess. That's what she was. I told you, then who's he addressing? Miriam. He's not a prophet. Hello, prophetess. He's not a prophet. You've been leading. You have been doing what I told you to do. You have been speaking out and helping. But Moses
Moses is not a prophet. Come on, Moses is not a prophet. Come on.
I shall speak with him in a dream if it's a prophet.
Watch this. Says, cause how did you receive your information?
In a dream.
In a dream.
You got it? How did you receive your information? You can't fight that. Marion, you can't fight that. How did you receive your information? Just like all the rest of the prophets, I came to them in a dream or in a vision. This is how I come to them. John finished me in a dream. Come on.
Not so with my servant Moses.
But he says, but let me bring something to you. Because apparently you forgot. Apparently you don't understand. When Moses went up that mountain, you couldn't even come near that mountain. Remember that? You couldn't come near that mountain. Every time Moses spoke to me, all of a sudden he got a grayer beard. His hair became grayer. Remember that? What's going on? Moses is gaining so much wisdom from God. Every time you hear the voice of wisdom, it grows you. Moses starts to develop. He starts to reach a level of maturity. He's got it because he's leading, almost 6 million people. That's all. That's all he's leading. So he needs to make sure he's on track. But here's what I want you to see. Read some more.
He is faithful in all my household.
He's, watch this, he's what?
Faithful.
Watch this. But didn't he complain?
That doesn't rule out.
That's what, come on, brother. That's where I'm at. But he complained. Didn't he say something? We have a problem with identifying somebody as being faithful.
Amen.
Did you hear me? That's where the problem lies. The brother is faithful. He's always here opening the doors. He's always here. He's got everything laid out. That's a faithful brother. No, that's just a brother that's on time to open the doors. That's all that is. You don't know what that brother does afterwards. That brother has become so routine. You hear me, Jack? He's become so routine. You understand? He slapped his wife before he left. You understand? He cussed out his kids before he left. Watch this. It's a job. It's all it's been. It's a job. Let me get down here and get the church open. You hear me? It's a job. I've said that in marriage. I'm let you in. I've said that in marriages. When your marriage becomes routine, you have made it a job. When you've made it a job, it loses its cluster. It loses its flavor because it is a job. Now you feel you're obligated to do something. And it shouldn't have, God ain't never set it up that way. But you said, they faithful. Yes, God.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when things come up, you know, when life is in session, you still keep your composure. And it doesn't mean that you're not affected.
Right.
And when you speak out, see, here's the thing. He didn't take those complaints to the people. And he didn't spread gossip. He didn't put it out there like that. He went straight to God. And that's what he did on another occasion. And see, and that's the thing. When you are immature, you run off at the mouth. Loose lips?
Come on.
Sink ships.
I'm telling you, you run off at the mouth. And you don't even realize that this is not a one-time event. This is a pattern. Because you've been doing this a while.
Hello? You couldn't keep quiet if you wanted to. But you hear what I'm saying? She pointed at me. But it is a pattern. That's what I'm saying. Just like locking and opening the door, it is a pattern. This is what you do. It doesn't make you faithful, but watch this. But what makes you faithful then in the church? Because we know what doesn't make you faithful. By me being down here on time doesn't make me faithful. So then what makes me faithful in the church?
Going out and finding souls to bring to Christ.
You there. That's a good one.
Say, what did
Come
you
on.
say?
Going out and bringing souls to Christ. That's one. Come on.
It starts with your heart, but it comes out in your actions.
So then what are we talking about?
Your relationship with God.
Hello! That is faithful. You just hit it. It's not what goes in,
What comes out?
That's what comes out. I ain't got to tell you to be here. If you're faithful,
You're gonna be here.
you want to be here. Watch this. You want to be there Sunday because there's a Bible study. Because there's a relationship that he's talking about God. You want to be here, watch this, to the worship because there's a relationship, watch this, that I must have with God's people. Because I'm having it with God's people, I therefore have it with God. Was it John 2 where we were at first John? Was it John 2 where he says, how can you say you love your brother?
Hate your brother, hate.
How can you say you hate
Hate your brother.
How can you love God and hate your brother?
Yeah.
You have
Right.
opinions.
Right, and that was before 15, right? John 2, verse 9. Go there. I want you to see this. First John. You know, John, one of John. Just John, one John.
It's just one John?
Yeah, there's one John.
Oh, man.
It's just one John.
2:9 says what?
John 1, 2:9.
You guys read.
The one who says he is in the light,
The one who says he's in the light,
and yet hates his brother,
and yet he does what?
hates his brother.
Hate his brother.
It's a lie.
Why do you hate your brother? If you hate your brother, where's the relationship?
Right.
If you hate somebody, where's your relationship?
There is no.
Ain't no relationship. He says, so he drops home a bomb, and watch this. He says Moses is not only humble, he says, but Moses is now faithful. Moses has that relationship with God. Yes.
Yeah, if you hate your brother, you haven't learned to love, and God is love. So
You got
it.
You got it?
I mean, you don't have a relationship with God.
Zero.
You
Zero.
don't know God.
But watch this. But watch this. But
you
you're
can't
here.
work with him if you don't know.
But you're here every Sunday. You open the doors.
That's
Watch
the
this.
job.
You sit up front.
You're playing bass.
Wait a minute. Hear me, God. You sit up front. God, you read the scriptures. Brother Thompson, John, read. Oh, yeah. Wow. Brother reads well. What did you say you are?
All without love.
There it is, guys. Did you hear it?
What do you say?
All you are is dependable. Not faithful. You're just dependable. You can, watch this. We can count on you. We can count on you to do this.
Wow.
There's a gentleman that's at another church. I won't mention the name. But he leads the song service. I know his lifestyle. You probably don't talk about it. But he was stopped where he couldn't do it anymore until he turns his life around. But the congregation was pleading for him to the point that some were leaving
Because he wasn't singing.
because he wasn't singing. Hold on. And this is one of our bigger churches. So he was called to come back. And lead, you already know what I'm talking about too, Dwayne. He was called to come back and lead the song service. And he was told, we'll pay you, but this is what you have to do. You have to make evening worship, and you have to make a Bible study.
Wow. Who called Steve and said,
Amen! Okay. Hey, now you got it. Now you got it. No, but no, it wasn't Steve.
I know, but that's what I'm calling it.
But because I ain't told Steve to sit down. But anyway, the bottom line is, do you hear what's going on?
Yes.
This was brought to my attention by someone that is very close to this person.
This is in the Church of Christ.
This is in the church. This is one of the bigger churches.
Okay.
And I said, you've got to be kidding me. I says, then, if that is, I told her that, if that is their demands, then you need to make a demand. Am I wrong? Then you need to make a demand. Why take that little change that they give you, tell them, make them give you some more money. Make them pay you. Since this is what you're telling me I need to do, then let me tell you what you need to do. Because guess what? Sound like you need me more than I need you. So why don't I put you in? So why don't I go ahead and line this up? I said, and she's like, you know, I was saying something like, I said, you let me talk to him. I tell him that's exactly, I mean, if you're going to do it, do it. I said, because watch this. You're going to hell anyway, so why not go ahead and get you? Right, watch this. So why don't you go ahead and get you one? Why not go ahead? Because you're not going for the right reasons.
Get your lifestyle.
Right, you ain't going for the right reason. You going because it's a paycheck.
That's right.
That's why you're going. And if when they stopped you from doing it, you stop going. No, you don't tell the truth.
Oh,
You
yeah.
stop going there.
But Pastor, that is common practice in the churches.
I know.
I'm talking about not the Church of Christ. I'm talking about when you have your Bishop Olmers and your Joneses and your Fames and all of them and those Bishop Blakes. Those people are on a payroll.
You better know it.
They get paid. And if they don't get paid, you can trust and believe they're not going to be there.
That's right.
So, it was really,
I know.
it was really strange to me, I'm gonna be honest, when I came here and I, you know, saw Steve every Sunday singing and I'm like, so, hallelujah.
Why you holding out on it?
Exactly. You want to eat every week?
Come on.
He's like, what you mean? I don't get paid. I see you don't get paid.
I see it.
Right. No. I'm singing because. Oh, sorry. But I'm serious because where I came from, they are on a
That
payroll.
makes sense. That's why
Now I understand the relationship he has with God.
That's why you don't realize that a lot of
It's not
times.
just the singers that get paid, people who lead auxiliaries get paid.
Of course.
What?
If you're
Auxiliary.
over the choir, if you're over the children's
Children's
ministry, you
ministry.
get paid.
Yes.
Wow.
This is.
And they call it a
That's
love
just
token to you from the pastor.
Let's just get paid, everybody get paid.
But they believe me at the end of the year you getting a W-2 or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they paying you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody getting a check.
Yeah, look, we want yours up the same one, no check. But I'm saying, so when you say that it's here,
Yes.
it's just, this goes to show you the times that we're in. It's coming, it's crept into the church.
Yep.
Where God said, on this rock I will build my church, it's coming to the church. Deception.
We want to have numbers. So what do? You got to figure out how other people are getting numbers. And so what do? You got churches that don't never have a sermon that tears you down.
They all have feel-good.
It's got to be sermons, and if I tear you down, believe me, it's buzzing in his ears. You messing up. You better get that crank back up. You better make them feel good before they leave here.
You better not say that the Bible is a book of warnings.
Or
You won't be able to handle that.
Or how about this too? Not only the book of warning, but how about this as meaning lead. When I leave, you need to walk out of here feeling like someone. So watch this. I can't talk about adultery.
Fornication.
I can't talk about fornication.
Oh, no.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't talk about half the church is that. So I can't talk about that.
Right.
So my subject matters are never on subject matters that will
Bring you down.
trap a church. I can't
It's
do
always be up.
Never.
I
To
can't do
convict
it.
you, to keep you from going to
Steve
hell.
Harvey loves TDJ.
Yeah.
He's been married 4 times. Steve Harvey loves TDJ.
I heard you.
Do you know why?
I think T.D. Jakes is more of a
He's
motivational speaker. You know, he calls himself a pastor and all of that. I think it's more of he's just a motivational speaker. And a lot of your big churches, that's
And
what
he's
they
doing a
become.
great job.
Joel Osteen.
Oh, he's definitely a motivational speaker.
And you also got those, what you call them, those, rich, but what do you call it? I'm looking for a word, somebody help me. You know, these ministers that preach about if you turn in your, money to buy this, holy
Oil,
water?
those, yeah.
What do you call those type of ministers that preach wealth ministers?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
only
so
speak
watch
on
this.
That's another word, prosperity.
So
That's it, prosperity.
Prosperity. So watch this, Jack, get me home, we're getting there now. He says 8, he says what?
With him I speak mouth to mouth,
But with him I speak what?
mouth to mouth,
Okay,
even openly, and not in dark sayings.
so then watch this, guys, keep going.
And he beholds the form of the Lord.
So then watch this. Yours says mouth to mouth, yours says seen mouth to mouth.
Same, yeah.
Somebody give me another one. Somebody have a New King James?
Face to face.
Face to face clearly,
I want you to see this. Says he speak what?
face to face clearly and
Who
not
you
in
favor?
riddles.
I speak with him directly.
Who are you favor? I want you to see something. Who are you favor? You got him? Who are you favor? Right here.
What does?
Yeah, what does?
Okay, so what does this mean? Moses saw the form
Monet. Uh-huh.
of God. It does not
Where are you,
mean.
wait.
Sorry, right here.
First we got First Moses was
Oh, okay.
Then 8.
Okay. Alright, so what does this mean? Moses saw
After
the
the
form
third bullet.
Mona of God. It does not mean that he saw the unveiled presence of God. It means that Moses saw a form, a shape, a cloudy image of God, not the very being of God.
Or else he'd be dead.
But watch this. Moses saw God. Yes.
He just turned.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're simply saying that Moses saw God, he did not see him in his glorified state. Because he wouldn't be able to enter.
Watch this.
Oh, Jesus.
Watch this. Didn't Moses ask,
Yes.
is he the Lord?
Mhm.
What did he tell him? He's gonna hide him
That's the rock.
a clever rock, right? What did he say? I will
Pass
See my
by.
backside.
pass
Pass
by,
by.
and you will
See
see.
the
I
back.
Backside.
can't remember what that said, but you
That's
can.
in,
But
Exodus.
Exodus, it is
Exodus.
in Exodus, but I don't
it's
know
like
where.
31 or
It
29.
was in Exodus, where he mentions it. Trina's trying to bring it up right now, but I want you to see this.
It's between
Did you
29.
find it?
Yes, Exodus 33 verses 18.
Go find it. Let's go find it.
Verses 18.
Yeah, let's go find it.
I see.
Because even the elders saw.
So
saw-
Genesis, Revelation, Deuteronomy, Numbers,
I got it.
Because
I have it.
even the elders saw
18.
saw God. He appeared
I see.
on a piece of I forget, it was blue, like sapphire or something like that, and they saw God, but he obviously wasn't in his glorified state.
Okay. We're gonna talk about it.
It says, then Moses says, please show me your glory.
Show me your glory.
And God said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before you.
John, give me Matthew the 17th chapter.
Matthew 17.
Matthew 17.
Verse,
I gotta go find it.
transfiguration.
You got it, that's good.
Yeah.
What?
The Bible says, and it's 1 and 2, it is there, 1 and 2.
Can we read down to 20 of Exodus first?
Okay, she wants to read a little bit farther, hold on.
Okay, it says,
Where we at,
it
Exodus
says,
what?
Exodus 19, and God said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before you, for I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show compassion, loving kindness, on whom I will show compassion. Verse 20, but he said, you cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live.
So,
Wow.
Jamal said it wasn't his glorified state. Read 17, 1 and 2.
6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun,
Same
and
thing,
his garments became as white as light.
same thing. Same thing.
That's the son though.
Hold on. Who do you think this is in the Old Testament? It's not the Father, that's the Son. That sure is, that's the Son.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hold
I didn't
up.
know that.
Hold up. Ain't nowhere in the world the Son, the Father has anything to do with
He
sin.
ain't gonna come to earth.
Why would he change his rule now? He's never changed his rule.
He came in Genesis when he was walking through the.
Did he?
That was Jesus.
Who was that came through? He's made that clear as a bell. God does not lie. He says, the Father has nothing to do with sin. Nothing to do with sin. The world was created by Jesus. So who do you think is then controlling, ruling, walking?
Jesus.
It's the Son. Now hold on. This is glorified. Because you know why? You know why?
Because he ain't Jesus yet.
It's not human form.
Come on. I mean, that is about as straight as you can get it. Because he ain't what?
He ain't Jesus yet.
But instead
He's still the son.
But instead with Jamal, you said that he didn't see him. You said that Moses saw him face to face, but in Exodus he said that no one can see my face and live.
Well, watch this. When he speaks of face to face, he is saying the prophets said what? Dreams. He says Moses face to face says he talked to him face to face. Watch this. Whether Moses saw it or not, he did present himself. He made the backside of him available for Moses to see. Right, Gacia? The problem is, Moses couldn't do it because the minute the glorified state of him hit, it was brighter than the sun. He did what?
Prostrated.
He never saw him. It's too much. And he did it twice in your Old Testament.
Wow.
He did it twice.
Okay, you say the Father has nothing to do with sin.
Nothing.
So, he don't love us?
What did
I
you
don't
talking?
understand. I mean.
That's why he sent his who?
His son.
That's why he
Said
sent
the
his son.
son. Yes, he loves us because
That's
the
why
son
he
has
sent his
taken
son,
all
because
the
he loves
sin.
But how do we
Because
know?
the son was on the cross.
Right.
That's why
That's
he
how he
loves
loves us, because he sent his son. I know, and I heard, let you back in. I know what people have said. That's why they say Old Testament before I learn it. It's been so many times said that Jesus wasn't in the Old Testament. Jesus is in the Old Testament.
But
He's
just
every
like
bit of the Old
just what
Testament.
Jesus did.
Yes, go ahead, my brother.
But how do we know?
Do you need a bean pie, my brother? Go ahead.
How do we know that Melchizedek wasn't on the earth?
Huh?
How do we know that Melchizedek wasn't on the earth at that time?
What do you mean, how do we know that
How do we know that Melchizedek was not on the earth?
How do we know? Let me help you. No one knows anything about Melchizedek.
Because my point would be,
Go ahead.
if he's on the earth at that time, he's the king of Salem, right?
Uh-huh. That's not Jesus, by the way.
I know.
Okay?
Son of God, not Jesus.
That's not the Son of God. Melchizedek is not the Son of God. Melchizedek, you need to go back and look at that. He says, right, he even explains it. He says like. He says he was like.
In the order of.
Yes, so he wasn't the Son of God. Melchizedek wasn't the Son of God. We don't know who he was because Paul was trying to explain him, but he says, that's Hebrews. So Paul was trying to explain him, and Paul says, but I can't explain it because where you ought to be on meat, I've got you on milk. So we miss Melchizedek. We miss to understand who he was. All we know is he's a king of Salem. That's all we know. We don't know nothing else about it, but he was not Jesus.
I think he drops a lot of hints. I agree with you. He wasn't Jesus, but he drops a lot of hints.
What?
Comparing him to the son, comparing him to
He compared, but he wasn't.
Right, he wasn't Jesus.
That's why we can't, because he has no, we don't see a beginning and we don't see an end.
Right.
But we can't add to the scriptures. God told us don't add. We can't assume that he was, no, we can't do that. Paul was trying to tell us he was a man. That's what Paul was trying to tell us. He was a man. But he didn't have a beginning and he didn't have an end. That's what Paul was trying to explain to us. And it just disappeared. Go back and look at it. We'll wrestle with it. Yeah, we'll wrestle with it, but no. But by the way, this is glory. Jesus is in his glorified state in all the Old Testament. Jesus becomes visible in the New Testament when he says, John 2:14, he says that he became what?
Flesh.
And became flesh. But he was always here. The Bible itself was written by Jesus. He says, I am the Alpha, and he says, I'm the Omega.
The beginning.
I'm the beginning. What beginning? Our beginnings. He says, I'm your beginning, and I'm your end. I'm going to judge. He says, watch this, one minute he speaks in Greek, then he opens it up. 1 minute, that's in your Revelations 22. He opens it up. He says, so I'm the Alpha and the Omega. Watch this. Folks scratching his head. He said, well, I'm the beginning and the end. It's on now. He said, well, I'm the beginning and the end. He says, I'm going to remove your Greek statement, your Hebrew thinking. I'm going to get it and make it just as clear as a bell. I'm your beginning and I'm your end. So Jesus, he says, so back to our text, he did come in the form. He did come in, but it was clouded. John makes us, not John, Paul makes a statement in 1 Corinthians 13th chapter. Go there, 13:8 or 13:9. No, 9 talks about the tongues. I think it's
13 what?
yeah, towards, you know what I'm talking about, yeah. Okay, it says,
For now we see.
so that's it. So what?
That's 12.
So watch this. So 12, so watch this. 1 Corinthians 13,
It says
12, 13,
1
right?
1 Corinthians 13 and the 12th verse says, for now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as I also am known.
You in King James?
Yeah, but I have them here.
No, I was King James.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is what.
That couldn't have been KJ. That's the new King James. Give me, anybody got a KJ?
Oh, the regular.
Here, KJ. Anybody got a KJ? You got a KJ? How about put it on? Okay.
Switch my lick off.
You said what?
1 Corinthians
1
13.
Corinthians 13
She said around
and
12.
12.
11, really 11 to 12.
In the regular King James?
Yeah.
You want
Says what?
Oh, that's the Dawith and all that.
Oh, I like them dollars, don't Okay.
It says,
Y'all listening?
it says
The
King
teacher?
James Version.
Y'all listening?
13? Yeah.
Okay.
No,
13
12.
Okay.
In the 13th chapter, 12, 1 Corinthians.
Says what?
For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as I also am known.
I don't know if I've seen it in another book, but it says, but
And
now
now I abide in
dimly.
faith.
Ours say that.
That's it. Then read it. That's what I want. That's what I want. Read this.
NASB says, for now we see in a mirror dimly.
Dimly. That's what I want to say. So now we see in a mirror dimly. Here's what he's saying, how Moses would have saw him. Moses would have saw him in polished aluminum. When it's polished metal, he would have saw him in polished metal. You know, if the metal is polished, you can see, but it's dim. Right? But it's dim. Y'all know what I'm talking about? But it's dim. You take some metal and you polish it, you can see yourself, but you can't see yourself clear.
Oh, okay.
Right, but you can't see yourself. But
Yeah,
that's you.
cloudy.
Unless somebody snuck up behind you. But that's you, right?
Right.
So if that's you, he says, but now, watch this, he says, now we see, Lord have mercy.
But now we see the mirror dimly, but
Dimly,
then,
what?
but then face to face.
But then face to face. He says, so what is it? One day we will see him no longer in a dim mirror, or dimly, or where our eyes are coated. We cannot see in the spiritual world. So he says, so your eyes are dim. God made them dim, where we won't be able to see that other dimension. We can't see in that other dimension. That means it's not there, but we can't see it. So that's how Satan can come on you, come in you. I said to Gina today, the Bible says that what did he say? We be careful because you will what? Entertain?
Oh,
Angels.
And you said, what are you talking about? So that's what your Bible said. That we ought to be hospitable because
You fail to understand, you may be
You said,
entertained.
when did I feed you, Lord? When did I clothe you?
Oh, no, not on that one, but this is
But I'm
one.
saying, that's,
Yeah,
that's
oh,
what
yeah.
it said.
And then I use that. And now, but Claudia, and then I use that.
Yeah.
I actually use that. And so when did I do these things? You did these things when you didn't even know you were doing these things. This is when you do. You didn't, so what was God saying? It's not a marriage situation. You don't get to heaven because of all this good that you've done. That's a marriage situation. Then I owe you. You get to heaven because of God's grace.
Right.
See what I'm saying? That's how you get to heaven. Watch this. But then you said he's going to judge us by our deeds. So, Brother Thompson, I'm confused. Don't be confused because he is going to judge you by your deeds. But your deeds were things that you didn't even know you were doing.
Oh, okay.
Look good you were doing. So it's not a job. You know what I'm saying? Back to it again. It's not a routine.
It's a relationship.
It's that I'll do anything I can for you. That's the relationship he's talking about. When we get that relationship with God, you stop sinning. I'm trying to tell you, you shut it down. You said, well, no, you said stop sinning. What I'm talking about is your intentional sins. You'll stop your intentional sinning. You'll say, I'm going to, really? Really? I was just going to, Lord, I'm really, come on, man, can you quit looking at me? You know what I'm saying? It stops that. When you start to see him as being real, I'm going to, oh, really? Do you have to be beside me? Jesus. I wanted to,
Get away from me.
yes, I wanted to say something, but a lot of us do this. I know what the problem is. Let me put you in my back pocket. Now let me tell you what I need to say. A lot of people make Jesus and they reduce him, so they do that. That's no relationship, because you can't reduce Jesus.
Or you start to really realize how much he has done for you and how much he loves you. That's another sin stop.
Don't be mad. Time is expired. Don't be mad. Come on,
Right,
Jamal.
but
Now
right-
you get mad. He finna throw the.
But right, you didn't like what I just said. I mean,
What?
when you get to the point you have that relationship with God and you realize how much the love that God has for you and what he has done for you, then, that's something.
That's the reason why I said, well, I don't know where's the Father fit in. The Father loved you so much. I don't know about you, but I ain't sending my son. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got
You ain't spitting in my son's face.
Because for a minute, because I was thinking, well, Jesus did all this, well, what is the Father? But then, I'm like.
And here's our problem. Here's our problem. Our finite mind see Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
That's how we put them.
That's how we put them.
Instead of,
When the Father ain't got a problem with the Son being equal, didn't he say in, was it Philippians 2:6? Although he was equal, didn't he say, although equal with God, he emptied himself? So the Father ain't got a problem, and I don't know about you all, but I ain't got a problem with my sons getting better and doing things out there. I ain't got a problem with it at all. I want to see Jarrell excel. I want to see Isaac excel. I ain't got a problem with doing beautiful things. Here's Jesus, my son. We've laid this already out at the round table. Way ahead of time, way before the foundation of the earth was even laid out. We laid all this out. And watch this. And I asked who would do this, who would do this. Why? Satan hadn't even come. Satan hadn't even sinned. Satan was a very powerful, loyal angel of God before he even sinned.
Loyal.
Loyal. Royal.
I was in the center since the beginning.
Well, watch this. Who's beginning?
Yeah.
yeah, so
That's
that's
it.
beginning.
That's right. So he wasn't, because he sinned when God made him. Something wrong with that picture. He didn't sin when God made him. He appreciated what God was doing. As a matter of fact, he looked at it so much and said, I got to be just like him. Watch this. As a matter of fact, after he stopped saying, I got to be like him, he says, I am like him.
Why don't you move over and let me, just like you got control of people, watch how I got control over people. Let me show you what they'll do for you, let me show you what they'll do for me. So you need to move you need to get up out of your throne, that needs to be mine. Because I got more people doing what I want than you do. God has always said, I don't need a lot of people to do my will. All I need is quality. I don't need quantity to make things happen.